Get lights, a mirror, and a bell, and you'll live forever. Hey guys, we got a special nighttime version of Johnny Nerd Out. Tonight we're gonna be testing headlights. I got a whole bunch of them down here that you can't see, but I'm gonna be working out of my shop. I'm gonna be projecting the lights about 30-35 feet onto my fence from my shop, and I'm gonna just try a whole bunch of different lights out. I'm gonna keep the camera settings the exact same. It's ISO 800. Wide open aperture. No, I didn't swear right there. If you know cameras, you'll know what I'm talking about. So really quick, I'm gonna do the gauntlet. I'm gonna give the rundown of which lights we're gonna be doing and why they're cool and why they might not be cool. For you, there's so many different lights that work for different people. So like for me, I ride like crazy, so I want super bright lights. Like I want it to be like a motorcycle. But maybe maybe for someone like you barely ever ride at night, so you want something small, portable, lightweight, and cheap, and just something in case you do get caught at night. It's something that, you know, is gonna help be safe so that you can be seen. So I've got the whole gamut of motorcycle brightness lights, cheap lights just to have on your bike just in case you get caught at night, and everywhere in between. Here we go. We've got this is a light that's integrated into the Bafang system. It plugs into the system and it's controllable by the on-off switch on the display or toggle switch, whatever you have, whether you have a BBS 02 or HD. So let's go ahead and try this one out. So you can see this one's got a pretty narrow focus beam. It's not just like a shotgun where it just goes out everywhere. It's kind of focused. So it's kind of nice. It's brighter in a specific area instead of just like scattered out everywhere. It's kind of focused, which means, you know, you're gonna have a kind of tunnel vision, but where you do see is very bright. And it's integrated, so that's really good. You could just press and hold the plus button and it turns this on. So you don't ever have to worry about keeping your battery charged on here because it's running off of the integrated light. So that's definitely a plus for that. If that works for you, that's great for you. Okay, next we got Vant. This is a headlight tail light kit. This is rated at 250 lumens. I'm guessing this is going to be about the same as the integrated headlight one. This one is super lightweight and it really just straps onto your handlebars. So let's go ahead and see what this one's like. So this is a good, cheap safety light. You could even keep this in your backpack. It's super light. And I'm gonna put links down below if you wanna buy these headlights and to how much the prices are. Prices are always varying, so I'm not gonna say the price out loud, otherwise you guys are gonna hold it to me 10 years later when it's totally different. But this one is definitely cheap. This is probably around 20 bucks right now in the year 2021. If you're watching this in the year 2050, it's probably not 20 bucks still. Okay, the next one we have is the Raveman CR1000. This one's rated at 1000 lumens. So this is definitely gonna be a lot brighter, 4 times as bright as the Vant, and about 5 times as bright as the integrated light. This one also has different settings. It could be 1000, 600, 350, or 100 lumens, and it also does pulse flashing and rapid flashing. Runtime is 2 hours to 45 hours, depending on how you run it. So this is super bright. This is if you want to blind people, exact your vengeance and blind people. This is kind of like a motorcycle headlight at this point, but it's rechargeable, so it can be easily removed and taken off your bike and thrown on. It even comes with a remote control on it. If you're that lazy, you can't move your finger 2 feet across the handlebar, it has a remote control. You know who you are when I say if you're lazy. So let's go check this one out. So yeah, you could definitely see this thing is it's definitely bright. It lights up much better than the other two. Now we've got one called the Magic Shine. It's by Magic Shine. It's called the ME1000 e-bike light. Or the Me. This one's interesting. This one's kind of cool. So this one comes with different connectors. It comes with just a barrel plug. So if you want to use this with the Bafang kit, you're gonna have to do some custom wiring like I did, which is, for me, super simple. Cut off the end and you have 2 wires, plus and a negative, and just plug it into the Bafang thing. You can make your own connectors if you want to make it really solid, or you could literally duct tape this to the thing, or you could solder it, hardwire solder it in there, connect it. You can make it as clean as you want. This one is nice. Let's take a look at the video here. Let's see what it looks like. So you can see this one is not super bright, but this one, it feels high quality. And that one didn't look like 1,000 lumens, so I don't think it was actually doing 1,000 lumens. And the interesting thing about this thing, it's an automatic switches. It's supposed to automatically switch, and it will constantly have daytime running lights going, which is interesting and kind of cool. I actually like that. And I think it puts out 15 lumens, which means like half of a watt pretty much, that this thing is always going, which I really like that actually. Super safe. Although in the daytime, maybe you don't need a light, but every little bit helps when you're on a bike. And this thing is supposed to automatically adjust. Like if you're going through a tunnel, it'll automatically get brighter up to 1,000 lumen. I could not get it to go to 1,000 lumen, so I'm kind of bummed about that. But that could just be user error. But I tried messing with it. I tried putting it in darker locations. Maybe I was doing it wrong. Maybe in real life, and I'm just doing this out of my shed, pointing it at the fence. So maybe in real life, this thing behaves better. But this one is the one I really want to like, and I feel like this one could be really cool. But obviously this one's gonna be more expensive, and you do have to do some custom wiring. So, you know, if you're not into custom wiring for a Bafang, don't get this one. But if you have a Bosch or a Yamaha or something like that, with a barrel plug, this thing I think just plugs right in. That's what this thing was made for. But it'll work with any 6-volt or 12-volt output. So this one's kind of cool. Last but not least, we've got, this thing has been called so many different things throughout the years. When I bought it, it was called Leorx like 5 years ago. Now it's called Whoop laser gun. Nothing makes sense. But this thing is pretty cheap. This thing is probably around 20 bucks. It accepts any voltage from 12 volts to 85 volts. So it'll work with a 12 volt battery all the way up to a 72 volt battery. And you literally just plug it in and it's on. There's no on off switch on this. This is the equivalent of like a Cyclone motor. This thing is just crazy. It's 2,000 lumens. I actually have 2 of these on my bike because yeah, I hate people and I want to just blind everyone. I actually have 4 lights on my bike. I have 2 of these pointed out but kind of down so it's not in people's mirrors, and then I have 2 other lights that point directly down that kind of light up the pavement around me. So I look like a semi truck coming down the street, but I don't want to die, so I light up like a Christmas tree. And I am joking. Obviously I know I'm gonna get some hate, but I don't blind people. It is bright, but it just looks like a motorcycle coming down the street. So let's take a look at this. Yeah, and you can see this is by far the brightest, but that is with 2 of these on. So essentially that's like 4,000 lumens. I recommend these if you are just looking for the brightest. If you live out in rural whatever and you're driving through pitch darkness a lot and there's not a lot of people around, this is perfect. There might be other applications as well. You will have to wire in a on-off switch if you so choose, or you could just leave it always on. I don't think this thing draws much power. It's probably 20 watts, which isn't going to affect your range at all. So you could just leave this thing on all the time. However, sometimes I've noticed I don't want it on because when you're coming up to someone's house at night, it is bright. I mean, it's like having a car light constantly shining. And if you're going places at late at night, and maybe you're leaving somebody's house or leaving an apartment complex, you may not want this thing on. So I recommend getting like a $10 light switch, wire that in. But if you're not into custom wiring, again, this one may not be it for you. You're gonna want something like the Raveman 1000 or something similar. Or if you want something just super cheap, go with something like the Vaunt. That's just lightweight, cheap, easy to install, bingo bango. If you want something integrated that you never have to worry about, that's somewhat bright, that's pretty bright, go with the integrated light, the Bafang integrated light. That's what I put on my wife's bike and it works great. But she's at night, she's usually riding with me. So if we need extra light, I light up the streets like a semi truck. But even so, even if I wasn't there, her light would be bright enough. So anyways, hopefully you guys found this helpful. I know these will all work with the Bafang systems with a little bit of ingenuity and resourcefulness. But if you're watching this channel and you're into making your own e-bikes, something tells me you are a resourceful little beaver and none of this is going to be too difficult. Be safe out there. Get lights, a mirror and a bell, and you'll live forever. Mark my words. All right, later guys.